From down here, that panel looks really nice mocked up there. So I'm really happy as to how that came out. Okay. We're going to move down here and get this lower fascia panel started. And you can see the magnets are holding the paper template up here quite nicely. Everything's lining up to where it needs to be. So we'll get this transposed onto some sheet metal, cut it out, and start forming this one up. This one should be a little bit easier than that one up there. All right, guys, so I got the panel all cut out. I'm going to wipe this off first. Then we're going to take the rubber wheel, put it in the English wheel, and we're going to wheel it lengthwise, just to give it some curvature this way. Then we're going to switch over to the steel anvils, and we're going to start wheeling it up and down like this. So that'll give us curvature this way, as well as around this way. I just want to give it a little bit of shape, just so that it maintains some form of rigidity when we're wheeling it. Now, you guys see me do this so many times, but the one time I didn't do it, you guys didn't like it too much. So let me show you how I rubber wheel a panel. See how it's stiffening up? Just giving it some curvature. We're not stretching yet. Keeping the passes really close together so that it minimizes the number of ridges. And there we go. Not sure if you guys can see, but we have some ridges going on here. And that's from the flat spot on the lower anvil getting pushed up into the rubber wheel. And it created a bunch of ridges. And you'll hear them when I'm wheeling them out with the steel anvils. So let's get started. Now we're going to have to wheel more so in the middle than on the edges because of the nature of the curvature on the back of the car. But we're going to start at one end and work our way across and just start working the panel. Get closer. I'm not sure if you guys can hear the little bumps. Probably not. I'm using a very flat anvil, not the flattest, but the next flattest anvil. Rolling it through. Okay, now we're going to go back in, but I'm going a little bit further apart this time. And then when I get towards the middle, I'm going to space my passes much closer together. Now we can go lay this up on the car, on the buck, and see how much more we have to go. So we have about 5 inches to curve around on each end. If we do that, we end up with a peak here, basically a kink in the metal. So we have to stretch a lot more. I don't want a peak in the middle. I want a nice gentle curve all the way around the back of the car. Wheeling out 2 panels like this might not look like you're doing much, but you really get to feel the shoulders at the end of the day. Now you see, if I try to jam the panel in this way, it's almost impossible. Even though I don't have that much tension on, you don't like doing that. But if you turn the panel a bit of an angle, It just pops right in. Starting to come around now. I can see that curvature over there. It's starting to dip down quite nicely. Now, this panel is open right now, meaning I haven't squeezed it to curve it. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Just wanted to smooth something out there. So right now this panel is very in the open position. I have to curve it around because as we've been wheeling it, it's flattened out a bit. So we'll take and go to the bench, roll this around, and get some curvature to it. See, that's coming around very nicely. So it's still springing a bit, but we've decreased our distance between the buck and the metal by half. So we just finished wheeling the first zone, the center section here. Now I'm going to step out to the next zone and wheel over the whole thing again, meaning the center is going to get wheeled twice. And then we'll step out one more time and wheel over the whole thing, meaning the center is going to get wheeled 3 times, these 2 areas twice, and the outside areas only once. And that'll give us our gradient for curvature. Now I'm just blending. Got some more curvature into it. We're going to go test it. I just want to blend the wheeling zones a bit. Let's go test this out. It's coming in really nice. See that? Based on the curvature of the buck, we have more curvature up in here than down here. So we need to wheel the top section a bit more than the bottom, allowing it to bulge out a little bit more. So I'm going to actually switch up anvils, get something with a little more crown. And we need to work in these areas up and through here to start curving them around as well. Just like that. Have no fear, guys. That popping sound is perfectly normal. Just have a little bit of material that's trapped. It's kind of oil canning right there. Working the corners in so that they lay down onto the buck. Now we might have to trim the ends up because the panel is a bit long and the ends are holding us out a bit now. Now we got to do the exact same thing on this side. Now I mentioned before, if you overwheel a panel, get too much curvature into it, you simply roll the edges and that'll flatten things out for you. In this case, we still have a ways to go, so I want to stay away from the edges. Close the panel a bit. Mentioned earlier, the ends are holding us up. We're running into the fenders on the outside edges. So what I'm going to do now is find center on the panel and trim away those excess edges. Need to give it some more curvature. But I want to stretch the top just a bit more with that wheel. Until it sits up in here naturally, we have to keep working the panel. And it's almost natural where it sits right now. We need to have this top here tucked down just a bit more. Close the panel a little bit. I apologize if the microphone gets bumped. Okay, right there. It's now time to smooth things out. Very consistent passes, very close together. The panel will open up ever so slightly, so we'll have to adjust that. Just blending everything together now. I don't think you guys want to watch a 4-hour video of this panel being made, so we try to shorten them up a bit. I'm sure some people would sit and watch the whole thing, but it is a bit tedious when you're not actually the one doing it. I can appreciate that. Okay, well that's making contact with the buck very nicely. It's good there. Okay, aside from the ends being a little bit long, and I left it that way on purpose for now, so we can scribe them to the outside fenders later on, this panel is pretty much done. We still need to roll flanges, but that won't happen until I stand further back and make sure all the reflections are traveling across the panel nicely and the ends are finished. So that'll be done later. If we roll them now, that'll kind of lock the panel in place and make it a lot more difficult to correct anything. Now, in regards to the exhaust tips, I have a question for you guys. Do you prefer to see them come out from under the rear fascia, or do you think we should incorporate them into the rear fascia? Put it down in the comments below. I'd appreciate your opinion. Okay, so that's going to be it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and until next Friday, take care, guys.